Good morning, everybody. I gotta find my screen to make sure I can actually see all of you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Let me find it. There you go. I found it. All right. Well, I am fashionably late today. However, I'll give you a little bit of the backstory, why, how, and then we're gonna dive in. Today was getting property ready and staged it, photographer. Guess who was late? That's right. My photographer was late. It was not my regular photographer, but life happens. So rather than stressing myself out, I went on a hotspot and I decided, why don't I just hang out with all the agents today? So if you've got my SMS and hopped on here, wonderful, welcome. If you are coming from our training calendar from within GeoCentral, awesome, welcome. Let me know. I do have the comments up and I got some real cool stuff to share with you today because direct mail is obviously a big part of what I do, but why don't we just go nitty-gritty on the strategies today? And not just that, but I'm going to show you also the what I would recommend you send and all the good stuff, right? It's really the peek behind the curtain. There's 10 strategies, and my biggest advice to you, don't try to do them all, okay? So let me know where you're coming in from in terms of your state. I do want to make sure our comment section is working just fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and find my slides, and we're going to dive straight in. Are the comments working? Let me know. Yes, they are. Mississippi. Hello, Erica. Oh, no, Euricia. Euricia? Did I say that right? Tanya made it. Thanks for the SMS and calling me out. Life's not always perfect, but, we make it. Florida. Hello, Vola. Okay. Our mastermind sessions do get recorded and uploaded, so don't worry about missing it. In case you do have the mastermind portal, you'll find it there. So if you have to jump off, no problem. If you're not a mastermind member, make sure you stay on, because we do want to make sure that you do get all the good stuff. Okay. Everybody can see my slides, I hope. Yes. Awesome. California. Hello, Casey. Bethany. Nice to see you all. All right. Diving into the 10 hyperlocal mailing strategies. And one of the fun things is that I literally just finished the slides 3 seconds ago. Again, being derailed a little bit, but it happens. Happens to all of us. And I'm just gonna go with it. I'm normally a very on the dot person, but again, life happens. So today's topic is really one of the fun ones. I've been having this one on my agenda to do for quite some time, because it really can be that simple if you have a strategy in place. Okay. And that's the biggest part here. I want to make sure you get a strategy and not just a fluffy, or this would be nice, but actual strategy that you can use even this year, 2024, 2025. Okay. Tanya is promoting the mastermind. Yes, I do agree. The $7 mastermind is probably the best thing. I just went to Starbucks for a croissant and a cup of coffee, and it was like $8. So crazy. Okay. Anyhow, let's dive in. I do have one ask for you guys. And one of the goals I have is to make these types of classes really the best they can be, right? There's a whole bunch of opportunities, and having you guys on here, I appreciate you being here, spending time. So if you are willing to leave me an honest review on the Hyperlocal Agents Google page after today's class, I would love that. And I will also spoil you with what we call the Business Builder Box. So yes, you will get a gift shipped from me for an honest review as a thank you, free of charge. Okay. Now, for those of you saying, what's the Business Builder Box? I don't get it. Inside the Business Builder Box, we do have a repeat and referral business strategy that agents are using to stay in touch, spoil themselves with some gifts, and again, just a whole lot of little things that hopefully you will enjoy. And all these things do come in the box. It is physical, so it will get shipped to your doorstep. Okay, so all I ask for that one is to either text review, or if you're on a computer and you happen to have your phone next to you, feel free to scan the QR code, which actually that QR code then should open up your message, and all you got to do is hit send. Okay, so we should do a class on how do you do that, because this QR code is brand new and a lot of fun. So again, have a look at it. And if you want to just text it now and review it later, that totally works. I would appreciate it. And again, trying to spoil. Hello, Mari is on here. Lover box. Yes, thank you. Awesome. Vanita, the business boxes are so nice and relevant. Thank you. That business box is not a thing you need. Okay, I promise I didn't pay Tanya to be on here. All right. So for those of you who are just here for diving in, we're going to do that. Okay. So 10 hyperlocal mailing strategies is the topic of today's class. And if you're a workbook person, you can download a complimentary workbook. I do give you a lot of strategy stuff that typically fills pages. It keeps you focused. You can refer back to it. And obviously there's also resources on there. So I'm going to go ahead and type that into the chat. Again, there is nothing that you guys, join the chat. I gotta put my name in there. I didn't join the chat yet. Okay, join the chat. There you go. Okay. So that workbook, there's no opt-in or anything. You guys can just download it on our site if you like workbooks. I'm a workbook person personally, so I just dropped the link in the chat. Okay, I'll put the review in the chat as well. I will do that as well. So review, and then 844, that's actually the number we just sent you a message from. And yes, I do watch all of these messages personally, so if you ever want to text back to it, I do read all of them. So that's the workbook, keeps you focused. Now, I do have obviously a goal for you after class. And the reason is really, really simple. If you just spend an hour with me, okay, and then you do nothing, you just wasted an hour of your time. And if that is your goal, to just be like, okay, I'm just going to listen in and maybe I do nothing with it, you have things to do, okay? Don't waste the hour. I need you to really decide if you want to take action. What's the goal for every listing appointment? When you go on listing appointments, what's your goal? Pretty simple, right? Get the listing. That's right. I have the same goal when I go on listing appointments. I want to make sure that I get the listing signed. Now, for you, I have a simple goal here, which actually is 3. I want you to figure out what's my next step if I want to take action, okay? And for those of you saying, I don't know what that means, you really got to figure out what is your next action step. And I got some of you on here that are probably saying, hey, I love to learn, right? So if you are that lifetime learner, I'm a learning junkie, so I'm right there with you, right? It's all about more education until you are confident enough that you're ready for the next step, right? It's like sitting in class, learning how to operate on a person, getting comfortable, getting confident, until you're ready to dissect your first frog and then your first real person, right? So that is really the lifetime learner path. But what is missing there is oftentimes the action. Now, so many of you are probably saying, oh, Janine, I would love to pick your brain. I have literally spilled my entire brain on a book about mailings. So if that is you, awesome. That is the book reader. And then the action taker, for those of you, that is all about taking action, and that's our mailer bootcamp. Dixie says she needs the workbook link again. Again, if you need the link, it should be just scroll up. Ola is getting her books. That's awesome. Yes, there's 2 right now. I'm currently working on my 3rd, which will be all about the Sphere mailers. So I'll drop the link again for the workbook there. Okay. And then this one here are the 3 paths we just decided to, or we just talked about. Lifetime learner, there will be a class pass available once we have the recordings. All these classes we do on this one. So if you're saying I need to like binge watch a bunch of classes and do it as fast as possible, class pass is for you. If you're saying, you know what, I do want to actually read, I love reading, I like the references, again, that's the books I mentioned. Some of you guys have this book. MailerMomBook.com is that URL for it. And I actually just ordered 100 free books to give away. So all you got to do is cover shipping if that's what you decide to do. And then last but not least, and that one is coming up, is our bootcamp. So if you have not been in the Mailer Bootcamp yet, it is the nitty-gritty. I'll take you step by step on getting your first or next postcard out. And best of all, we got a major surprise in store for you in this bootcamp, okay? So really excited. And there's like hundreds of agents right now signed up, which is so cool to see that this bootcamp will be packed with agents wanting to put a strategy in place for 2025, okay? All right, we got all of that out of the way. Here's again the link for the workbook. Everybody good? Everybody settled? You got a beverage? You got a notepad? Yes, thumbs up? Awesome. Then let's dive in. Now, how many of you are sometimes just feeling you're throwing spaghetti at the wall trying to get more listings, right? That feeling is something I think so many of us experience when we are hunting listings down, right? I mean, sure, we've all had a whole lot of focus lately on the buyers. However, you guys know where the focus needs to shift back to, right? After you've focused on getting all your ducks in a row of how do I handle buyers after August 2024, it's time to shift back as fast as you humanly can to put your focus back on what? Listings. Yes. Do not get swept up more on this whole buyer thing. Put something in place, and we'll talk about the something in a minute too. What's that something? But then put your focus back where we want it, which is listings. Now, today I'm also going to introduce you to a concept that we call micro farming. Okay. Some of you guys know I am personally in production. I've built my brand with geographic farming. And when I figured out the whole micro farming concept in between my overarching mailer strategy, a lot of things changed for me. Mainly, I took in more leads. I got more clear on my messaging, and I just was more specific on my actions. And my goal for you today is to be exactly this, more specific, okay? Link for the workbook, I'll put it here on the bottom for a second. So Christina, if you wanna have a look at this one, right there, thehyperlocalagent.com/workbook, okay? Awesome. All good? All right, moving along. So there's 3 core objectives that I have for today. Secret sauce. Everybody likes secret sauce, right? Magic pill, secret sauce. To a successful and scalable real estate business without staying on the hamster wheel. One of the things that I absolutely obsessed over lately has been, how do I get more time? How do I free up more time? How do I make sure that I can be a present mom, a decent wife, right? A good friend, and all the other hats that we're wearing or putting on ourselves. Like, it's a lot, right? On top of that, you have real estate going on, and it seems like it's nonstop. So I needed to figure out something that was actually getting me off that hamster wheel and giving me sanity back. Anybody can relate to that, maybe? Yes? Now, second one, mailing stats that will blow your socks off. I do think there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to mailings. And I do think we need to really look at some of these statistics, because the most common things you guys will hear when you look at any online groups, I've tried mailers, they don't work. I've wasted thousands of dollars on mail. Nobody looks at mail anymore. It goes straight in the trash. You have to mail 12 months in order to make this work. Like, all of these baloney things that are being out there, and people just give it back like it's, like, oh, I've heard this, so I'm just going to put this comment out there. I'm like, I'm a big investigator by trade. And when I started looking at mailing stats and actually diving into the world of who's got the data, who's got the report, I'm going to share some of these stats with you. And I think you're going to find them very, very interesting. And then last but not least, discover the easy access to data sources. Where do I get the addresses from, right? That's got to be one of the biggest questions that I do get. And if you are still needing to dive deeper into that, I do have an entire class we just did on Monday during our Lunch and Learn. But again, that's my objective here for today's class. Real quick, for those of you that just hopped on from a random SMS for something you probably don't even remember signing up for. Anybody was that, right? I mean, I see a lot of familiar faces, but I also know some of you guys are like, why did I get this random SMS? Well, chances are you encountered me somewhere for something postcard related. And again, I'm Janine. I do have a hyper engaged farm of now 3,500 homes. I started with 100 flyers. I do want to point that out. Okay. I did not start with a giant marketing budget. I started with free. And now I send about 60,000 postcards a year. And it's just one of the best things I can do to leverage my time. I do have 2 little kids, 2 boys. I'm a boy mom. So having young kids at home, I really had to figure out, how do I, have my cake and eat it too kind of personality. I wanted to be there to drop them off in car line, pick them up from school, bring them to activities, take them to doctor's appointment. You guys know the drill, right? So trying to balance this was definitely hard until I figured out I can leverage mail. I do live in my dream home, really cool house. I love it. I'm in my company's top 5% as a solo agent nationally, top 1% locally. I'm in my top 50 right here for the region for my company. So again, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm telling you that because I really know it works because I'm doing it every single day. Okay. And on top of that one, I am a licensed real estate instructor in the state of Illinois, and I do love teaching on top of what I do. I was a teacher prior to becoming a real estate agent, and now this is my way to combine the best of everything. Okay. Now, for those of you that have never heard about the hyperlocal agent or really don't know, this is kind of what the hyperlocal agent is all about, right? Becoming an expert, really making sure that people are seeing you as the go-to resource who will give them the best possible outcome. Might that be for money? Might that be for quicker sale? That is what I'm looking to accomplish for agents across the United States. Now, what do you think is the reason that some agents are successful and some are not? And that's the interactive part. There's like dozens of you on here, and I'm really, really interested to hear what your thoughts are for this. They're consistent. That's what Tanya says. All right, let me know. What do you think? Like, this is not about me. This is about what you think. What makes an agent successful? Unless everybody agrees with Tanya this morning. Is it their database? Is it their marketing? What's making them successful? Everybody's got an opinion. Drive, grit, consistency. What else are you thinking? Why do you think this agent is just so successful? Because they got lots of money to spend on marketing. They have a giant database. Sometimes it's luck. Right time, right place, right? They show up. They stay top of mind. They put in the work. It's all of the above. Persistent and consistent. Maybe they need some sales skills too, huh? I know. And here's the thing, right? You see how different your comments are? The truth really is there is no magic pill. And I know you probably heard that before and you're like, yeah, but there's got to be something, right? What's that something? Well, there is a way for you to have a higher likelihood to succeed. And what is it? The magic really lies in one thing. That one thing? Systems. Having a consistent way, and some of you said consistency, right? That is what we have. Say, Lynn, we are not on Zoom. We are on a different link. Please go ahead and feel free to share that link with Brian that you got sent via SMS. Okay? Staying top of mind. Systems is really cool. So this one here, I decided I'm just going to pull this one this morning. Janice is been in the business for quite some time. And then she added geofarming with a proven system in, I want to say 2022. And I did interview her after 6 months in her farm. She took 5 listings. And I'm like, man, a proven system did a whole lot right here, right? Now, who in here would love to know that their business is always growing? Wouldn't that be awesome to know, regardless what you do day in and day out, your business ends up growing? That's kind of the point, right? Grow, grow, grow. Biggest one in business. And I want to make sure we're going to grow regardless of the market. You guys have experienced what it feels like when we have such low inventory. What does it feel like? It feels like there's not enough to go around, right? That's how it feels like. You guys have seen the interest rates put a drastic stop to the market activity. Have you not? You've seen buyers saying, you know what? I just can't move away from my 2.5% interest rate. And maybe you are that person yourself, right? But what if your business grows regardless of that interest rate? What if your business grows regardless of the competition? It doesn't make a difference how many people are going to get their license. Some of you have a scarcity mindset thinking, you know what, there's just too many agents, right? There's just too many agents, not enough listings. My income has to take a dip. That is what you're telling yourself. That's terrible, right? Some of you are still trying to figure out TikTok. Remember when Clubhouse came about? Yeah, came and went, right? That's the focus part, not getting too distracted. Regardless of the algorithm, that's the other part we're blaming. Man, I can't just do well because Facebook and Instagram changed their algorithm and now nothing is working for me anymore. And then, of course, regardless of low inventory. Okay? Our business needs to grow regardless of any of these things. Do you think that's possible? Do you think your business can grow regardless of these things here? Seems hard, but is it possible? I think there's somebody out there that says over and over, closings are happening every day, right? So, yes, you can grow with all of these. You heard this right. All of this and more is really possible with a geographic farm and a system. And I'll explain to you why. I'm not just going to make a crazy claim and you're like, this is crazy. It's all possible if you have a geographic farm selected because you are literally knowing where are people living. You don't have to worry about an algorithm. You do not have to worry about a platform that's to be used, right? But what we're building inside a geographic farm is actually relationships. Again, this morning, fashionably late, based on a photographer being late, I walked out to my car to get my computer to get set up in here, and I bumped into the neighbor. And I took that conversation. Guess what? That neighbor is actually thinking about moving. So we talked a little bit about pricing. I introduced myself to him. She's like, oh yeah, I know you, right? But now there is a face and there is a handshake. And my likelihood for the next phone call to talk just went up. Okay? I built that relationship. I stopped for a minute to have a conversation, a real handshake with a person. Now, question, how many of you have a geographic farm? How many of you have already started farming? Planting roots, deciding I'm going to be known in my neighborhood. Yep. That reminds me of The Land Before Time, that little triceratops. Yep. Okay. I do not mail consistently. Off and on. Yes. Awesome. Yes. I know. First thing is committing, right? Okay. If you answered no, grab a screenshot of the geographic farming workshop link below. I had really high ambitions to put a little cute graphic on there. Well, you know, it can't be perfect all the time, but that link is right there. So this way you can grab it later, okay? Just grab it and then screenshot it, however you want to take it right now. All right. Now that you have a farm, I'm just going to assume we all have a farm right now. Let's wonder about reaching these people. How many of you would love to go door knocking and be rejected face to face? How's that sound to you? Not so good, right? I know. Same here. I hate rejection. I don't think it's good for the soul. I don't think I need to get too many no's to get to more yeses. I mean, whoever came up with that, I'm like, that's just terrible. Now, next up, you got, Tanya put the link in there. Just don't use the www. It's just bit.ly, okay? Vola said she doesn't mind door knocking. Okay. Cold calling, being rejected over the phone. My personal answer is no thanks. How about you? Would you like to do that? Your answer might be yes. Again, nothing wrong with that. Florida heat is killing me. Oh, my post showed the WW. See, thanks. I got to fix that. Okay. Again, I personally do not cold call. It's one of those things where I don't like disrupting people. And little fun story on that one. Yesterday, I went to my company's top 100 event for the region. And it was a room filled with, honestly, extroverts, right? Everybody was just talking and so loud. And here's me, little introverted self, right? And I'm like, I went there with a purpose, and I did, have the conversation I was looking to have. But man, this room was filled with people that just love mingling and mixing and talking to people. And I'm like, that's not me, right? I'm like, but I do want to grow my business. So how do I do it in a way that makes me happy? Okay, so if that is you, and you're kind of like in that boat trying to figure it out, just like I did, well, that's what we're really going to talk about. Now, how many of you think mailing makes sense, but it does seem expensive? I've heard all the excuses before about it, right? How do we reach them? Well, if I do a postcard, that sounds great, but now I have to find a whole bunch of money, right? That's the most common one that we hear and that holds people back. If I were to give you $10,000 and I say you can mail with these $10,000, you will figure out the rest. If you know the money is right there, right, you will figure it out. If I say this is your mailing budget, you can spend it. If you don't spend it, it's going to go away. Okay? Now, here are a couple mailing stats that I think are really, really interested. Facebook ad cost went up 24% in 2021, whereas direct mail only increased actually 1.57%. Now, for those of you looking, and that's a Facebook stats, I didn't source them this morning. I do have the sources, but again, it was a busy morning. The ad cost of what people tell you to do, it's like, oh, just run a Facebook ad. It's expensive, guys, okay? Right now, we have a lot of people saying, you know what, in order for me to get a viable lead, it costs anywhere between $400 to $500 in ad spend. Did you know that? Probably not, right? Because when we're talking about a lead that actually converts, it's different than just getting a lead, right? You can get a lead at, cents on the dollar, but actually having somebody that turns into a sale, that number is really, really high. So keep that in mind the next time you think, I think direct mail is important. I get it, stamp cost just went up in July of 2024, right? But it's still nothing like ad cost. Because not only are you competing with every real estate agent in your market that is running Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube ads, you're also competing with the Home Depots of the world, the container stores of the world, the moving companies of the world. You're competing with every other business category when you do that. Make sense? Facebook ad only pushed to the masses if you spend $2,600 a month, according to Vola. See? Now, 93% of millennials have responded to direct mail. Did you know that? And I'll tell you here why. Direct mail feels new to them, right? The younger generation, I don't know how many of you guys on here have kids, but the younger generation grew up with what? Computers, technology, right? Moms taking selfies with them. That's what they grew up with. Now they get a piece of mail and they're like, this is so cool, right? Now your mail needs to be cool. Your mail needs to convert. But that is why you have such a great response rate, even in the younger generation. Paper is the most trusted medium that is out there. If you get an email, you may feel like it's spam, right? If you get a text message, anybody ever gotten a text message from, the marketplace health insurance thing, right? You're like, I can give you health insurance. How many of you responded to this one? Probably not many, right? Unless you had a little bit of fun and took them for a ride. Was a little bit of messaging back and forth. But direct mail has a certain trust factor because we're talking about the United States Postal Service. That's been around for the longest time. That's got to be legitimate, right? Think about that. Okay. Now, here's another one. If you combine PPC, which is pay-per-click, Facebook ads, and email, and then triple the response rate, okay? So if I put all of this together and then I do times 3, only then do you actually get the same results direct mail produces. How many of you knew that? Most people don't. We've actually had, and it's actually Tanya's mailing that did it, a letter going out to her neighborhood of 156 houses or something like that. She's got like 17 responses back on this. Her response rate was off the charts on it, okay? You wouldn't get that response rate if you were to run a Facebook ads. It's really, really interesting when you start looking into, is it actually working? Okay. Did I convince you maybe a little bit that mailing doesn't seem so bad anymore? Right? A little bit convinced? Maybe it's something to explore a little bit further. Don't just listen to the parrots online that are saying, hey, it's too expensive, it doesn't work. Because it's always a matter of, let's look and see what the numbers are saying. Okay? It's not that bad. Now, we're concentrated in a hyper-local area, right? Geographic farming, hyper-local area. That's what we like to do. Could we spend an afternoon dropping off something at their doorstep if we wanted to? Could we do that, get some steps in, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. So whatever strategy I'm about to show you, if you're still saying, okay, but I'm still struggling with the money, or I'm brand new to real estate and I spent all my money on marketing and business cards and now I have nothing. I didn't have marketing money set aside. But I was determined to go and put in my time and walk these flyers in order for me to get started. Okay, so whatever I tell you today, look at it and think about, if I can't mail it, can I walk it? Okay, because it comes back down to action. Now, there's no sales conversation you need to have, no face-to-face rejection, just a quick walk. I've had, by the way, my kids with me, and yes, we walked a little bit slower, but I was in really good company until my then 3-year-old had a fit, threw himself on the grass because he didn't want to walk anymore and he wanted to go home and watch TV. So again, been there, done that. I wouldn't tell you to do something like that if I haven't done it personally, okay? So now that the money is no longer an obstacle, you agree, right? There's another way around it. You don't have to spend money on postage. Because if we don't have the money to spend, we have time to invest, right? If you are not busy making money, you can probably invest your time to figure out, how do I reach these people? Mary said, my grandson used to go with me. Great memories, and he loved it. See, she got lucky. My kids hated it. But you know what? What was the other option? I was going to sit at home. They would be sitting in front of the TV because, going outside was so boring. And I'm like, no, you guys need to go do something. So again, let's dive into 10 micro farming strategies that will lead to more listings. Okay? Everybody thought this was so far a morning well spent? Yes? Let me know in the comments. I want to make sure we're getting something out of this. Each of these following slides that I'm going to go over with you, those are the 10 strategies, okay? I'm going to talk to you about the what. I'm going to give you design examples to look at. I'm going to talk about the who should you send something like this to. And I'm also going to tell you where you are likely to find that type of data. Okay. So again, design. What are we going to send? Who are we going to send it to? Right? Who's our audience, our target? And then some sources of where you could get that data from, many of which we have access to completely for free as agents. Now, it's kind of like a math equation, okay? The right what, the right who, the right where will get you results. Let me know in the comments if you think this is true. What are we going to send? That's the design. Who are we going to send it to? That's your target. And where we're going to get the data from. If you hit all three of these in the right order, do you think you can get results? It's a simple yes or no. Because so many of us just don't trust ourselves, right? And putting yourself out there can feel a little scary. And doing more than once. Well, you can do it once, and then I think somebody said, get lucky, and you walk away with a listing. Anybody heard about an agent who sent out one thing and got lucky? Why not you? Right? And after you got lucky on that end, go buy yourself a lottery ticket. Okay. Pretty straightforward, right? I think so too. All right. I'm going to type in the link for you guys for the workshop. You can put a www in front of it. And then, let's see. I'm going to test first to make sure it's good. Let me put that link in there, and then we dive in. Nope, not this one. Okay, maybe the link needs updating. My link needs updating. All right, give me a second on the link. Here it is. Found it. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the... Yeah, no, it's a... I changed some things around apparently. All right, bear with me. I'll put it in the chat, and then I'll put it on the screen for you guys. All right, there you go. bit.ly/profitable geofarm. Make sure the P, G, and F is capitalized. Okay. All right. Melissa, how do I get the business builder box? Leave me a review. Like, get one for free. I'll hide the thing in a minute where you see review. Leave me a review after class and earn yourself a free box. Fair? All right. Everybody good on the link? Yes? Perfect. I know. Don't you just love when a link is not working? I know. Can't be the first time, right? All right. Now, let's take that info and let's take action. Now, real quick, I need you to understand what learning really means, because that's what we're here and doing, right? What is learning? Anybody know the definition of learning? Same condition, different behavior. At the end of the day, this is how we learn. The biggest example I have for you on this one is, again, my video game story about my kids, okay? My kids do play video games. They do have like Mario, for example, right? All those levels that they're trying to beat, right? If you come up against the level, against the boss, and you do the same thing, the same behavior over and over and over, and you're not winning, well, that's not learning, right? That means you're losing against the same one. You can't proceed to the next level. But what happens if you have the same level and you do something a little different? All of a sudden, you're beating the boss, right? Yes. And that is what this is all about. If you leave here with the same behavior and do not take action, it's not going to change your business. It's not going to bring your business to the next level. So if you take action, your business can change. Remember, 10 strategies. Just pick one. Take the action, pick one, okay? All right, so strategy number 1, let's dive in. Expired letters. This one here is a fun one because how many of you are starting to see a lot more expireds again in your marketplace? Okay, so a nice little thing to send them is a little quiz. Hey, how market ready is your home if you decided to sell tomorrow? Do you think an expired wants to hear, I'm so sorry your listing expired. The problem was the agent, not your house. Give me a call. Do you think that you sound like everybody else? Right? Probably. Where do you get expired data from? Well, that's your MLS. You don't have to pay any of these sources. You can just go log into your MLS, pull all the expired listings from yesterday, and get to town. Right? Now, who could you send this to? Honestly, any expired listing that didn't sell from the last 1 to 5 years. Not a bad idea, right? Or maybe the ones pre-COVID that said, you know what, we're just going to stay here. Now, strategy number 2. Yes, we're rapid fire going through because I'm on my hotspot and my phone just said low battery. Nothing better than a little pressure, right? Now, strategy number 2, highly likely to move, highly likely to list. Here's an example of a golden letter postcard that you could send to these people. Who are we going to send it to? Well, there's a lot of places out there that are driven by artificial intelligence data. Anybody remember HomeSnap? Okay, we no longer have HomeSnap. I was told there may potentially be something else coming by the same people that did HomeSnap. So we're all very, very much hoping that this is very true. For those of you that have tax portals, Remine, for example, also have a likely to move indicator. See, everybody misses HomeSnap so much, I know. That's why I'm hoping the rumors are true. They're coming up with something else. All right, the idea of changing that golden letter into a postcard. Yes, it's already there, Tanya. Go log into your Geocentral catalog. Strategy number 3, based on ownership time. What do you send them? There's a letter example, and then there is a postcard example, okay? Both of these are something that you could potentially send to people who've owned their house for more than 15 years. How do you find out? You go into the tax records. You can look up who's owned their house for X amount of years, right? That's not difficult. You can farm based on ownership time. For example, if they've been there for 15 plus years, is it time to downsize? Flat out asking them. My message is a match. Do you need family to move closer? Okay. If they have a family that is their daughter with 3 kids and you want them to move closer, you could send them something. Strategy number 4. Remember, micro campaigns. I just need you to pick one. The garage sale strategy. Why do people have garage sales? Because they're looking to declutter, oftentimes in anticipation of a move. They don't want to bring all their stuff to Goodwill. That's not going to take it all, right? So we have one example here that is having a garage sale soon. Hey, here is a secret insider tip guide of how to have a super successful garage sale. Why do I want to send them that? So I can provide them with value, right? People are having a garage sale. How do you find out? Well, oftentimes the village that you're in has them to register, okay? When they register, then you can send them something. If they have the garage sale, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I was too late to drop this off. But hey, in case you're having another one, here you go. Drop it off while they're having a garage sale. That's another option. Where do you find out about them? Again, if you have to register for garage sale stuff, city pages. Also, Craigslist, Facebook, garage sale sites. They literally list themselves. And you can decide, do I want to go after these people? Because many, many times, they are starting to get rid of things. How many of you have thought about going after those? I do a neighborhood garage sale in my farm. Not because I just love garage sales, I do, but also because people are getting prepared and it allows me to have a conversation with them early on. Canceled. Oh, look who's got a typo in that one. All right, don't hold it against me. If at first you don't succeed, I can get it sold for you. I know, right? It's like, haha, sure. They probably canceled for a reason. But again, where do you get the data from? The MLS. You don't have to pay for that. And you can look at canceled listings from 1 to 5 years ago. Longer. There's no timeline really. You can just look. If it didn't sell yet, all right, go for it. That was strategy 5. We're halfway through. Strategy 6, for sale by owners. Obviously, for sale by owners, right? They're trying to sell by themselves. Where do you find them? Yard sales, yard signs, FSBO websites. I talked to one of them on Facebook Marketplace, actually. What do you send them? There's a postcard idea. Want to know what made the house sell for $30,000 more than the neighbors? I actually happen to have a case study. Okay? It's all about the messaging of you should hire an agent because we're so much better, then you're going to get more. They don't want to hear that. You got to approach it with a better message. Next up, renters. All right. For all of you guys who've just put so much effort into getting your buyer strategies right? You're like, I need these buyers to sign these exclusive agreements because this way I know I'm going to get paid. If you are looking to target renters, finding these people who are currently renting, again, if your MLS has rental data, right, you can look, hey, where are the homes that have been put up for rent in my geographic farm for the last 12 months, the last 18 months, the last 24 months, depending on how big your farm is, right? That's one way to find out the data. And then just mail to the current resident, because obviously you wouldn't know their name. You can also look for tax records where there is an absentee owner. If the taxes get sent to an absentee owner address, chances are it might either be a rental unit or it's a secondary home. Whichever way you see it, it's still good to mail to them. Now, you could send something like stop paying rent because actually you're still paying a mortgage, not just your own. You could send a letter. Help, my landlord is selling. 8 out of 10 people that applied to one of my rentals were actually caught off guard because the landlord decided to sell unexpectedly. Okay, that is one of the letter templates. Distressed properties. What do distressed property owners want? An easy out. Okay, what do you give them? An easy out, such as a cash offer. That is why they work so well. People who are behind on their mortgages, right? Those are the list pendants on our tax records. Again, we have all that data. It's super easy to get to that. That is microfarming strategy number 8. If that is your cup of tea. Remember, not all the strategies here, A, you want to do, B, you don't have to like. Strategy number 9, absentee owners. That's the tired landlord, okay? That is for the investors. Smart investor, and then sad investor. This one here, smart investor, they're calculated. They made lots of money. They're cashing in at the height of the market. Okay? Thank you, Tanya. Yes, if you don't have the renter's name, who do you address it to? Current resident. The absentee owners. Again, tax records, right? People who own a home in your farm, but they live elsewhere. Sometimes managing a property from elsewhere is hard. Sometimes telling them that the property improved 100,000, 200,000, ridiculous amounts of money might motivate them to say, you know what? Especially for those single family homes, by the way, because I don't know if you heard the news, but a lot of these Opendoor and all these other companies that bought up a whole lot of houses, they are ditching the single family homes because they are a pain in the butt. I just ditched mine this year, actually. Okay, so consider that. It sounded great at first, but now you're like, oh, I got to manage all of this. What if you have to replace something? You guys know how much it costs to replace a roof, a furnace, something, and all your profits are just out the window, right? So absentee owners can be a good one. All right, and then the last micro farming strategy here is the style of house. If you have, for example, a ranch home, you send a mailing to only people who own a ranch home. Why? Because you can make your message very relevant to these people. Now, obviously, the tax records do have some good indicators of 2 stories, or if their home has a basement, or if they're 1 stories. If not, a good old neighborhood drive if your neighborhood is manageable, okay? And jotting down some addresses. Grab your bestie and say, I'm going to shout out some addresses, and you're going to jot them down, and then you can create a spreadsheet. The nice thing is the style of house doesn't change, so it's great data to have. Okay, bonus strategy. Home anniversary for the orphans. This one is a fun one. What are we going to send them? A simple postcard that says, hey, happy home anniversary to your home. Okay. How many agents are actually not following up with their people after they're closed? Because why? They don't have a system in place. If you go into your farm, you can figure out when did they buy the house, when is their home anniversary, and send them a happy anniversary card. The data is all in the MLS for us, guys, right? Literally these 11 strategies, none of them would cost you any money to find the data. None of them, okay? And look at that networking happening in the chat. I love it. All right. Now, real quick for everybody that has GeoCentral, you guys have all these templates I just walked through in the catalog, okay? All the letter templates are there. All the postcard templates are there. So you're all set. Now, before we wrap up, I do have a very special invitation for you because I told you need to take action. Learning same behavior is not going to get you anywhere, right? When it comes to mailing, you have so many options. And many of you are ready for the easy button. I wanted the easy button. And when I found the easy button that literally had the mailman prospect for me, oh gosh, it was the best feeling in the world. Now, you can certainly also go ahead and hire it out. You've heard about all the postcard companies, right? And you are like, I'll just hire it out and I'll hope I get results. The biggest problem with that is simply that. And listen to this video from Gary Vee, if I can get it to play.
So to answer your question, first, I don't think any of you should delegate any of it at first, because if you don't understand it, you won't know how to hire. And more importantly, you won't know how to judge someone that you hired if you don't understand it.
Okay, probably the most powerful, like 14 seconds that I've had from him. You need to understand at least the basics. If you just hire it out, how do you know it's good or bad? You don't, okay? So understanding some of that on the back end is important. And personally, I would love for you to take back control of your business. You are the head of your business. You are the CEO of your business. You are the small business owner in here, okay? Honestly, this is not different than Zillow taking you, selling you back your own leads, okay? Don't let that happen. We don't need this to happen. We've had it happen to us way too many times. It's time for us to really go back in front of the consumer, be back in the driver's seat. You got to take charge. So for those of you that are saying, I got to figure it out, I got to go and do what's next, the Mailer Bootcamp is free. Okay, 5 days, step by step. In this bootcamp, we have a mega surprise for you guys to actually get a postcard out. We are giving you literally access to all the tools you need to get it out in that free bootcamp. Okay? So for those of you that are saying, okay, fine, I am going to commit to it, I'm going to get it done, this is it. Now, let's review real quick. Best lead generation method that lets your business grow, geographic farming. You're building relationship. If the market slows down, if the market goes, gets tough, if the market has a recession, are you going to call a random person to air your dirty laundry to that you are, upside down on your house, that you are behind on your mortgage? No, you're going to air that dirty laundry to a person you have trust with. And that's why geographic farming is just so important. When you build your brand hyper locally, people remember you. You don't have to work as hard. Okay, we're all getting older, and it's like all the grind that we put in now, all the hustle, right? At a certain point, you're going to slow down. What's your plan when you slow down? Okay. Now, what is the medium leaving the longest lasting impression for your business? Print advertisement. You can hold it, you can feel it, you can do all these things with it. It lasts for such a long time. Actually, 17 days by statistics. I should probably add this in here somewhere. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. You need to pick one of these 10 strategies. Now, what are the 3 components you need to line up to get the success formula just right? What are you going to send? Who are you going to send it to? Where are you going to get the data? Okay. Now, don't forget to join us for the next free class. I do love them, absolutely. And again, I'm excited you were able to join us today. Thank you so much for hopping on. If you got any more questions, let me know. My phone's about to die on my hotspot. So I will go ahead and wrap it up here. But again, I hope this was helpful. Linda, I will send you a message. We can chat about that just because I'm down to nothing. Okay. And I hope it was helpful. So, all right. Bye, everybody.